Michael stepped out of his office. Anna, I'm heading to the hospital. His assistant, who had even moved with him when he relocated the company to another city, jumped up immediately. How's Emily doing? She asked, concern written all over her face. Michael sighed, shoulders heavy with worry. Anna had become like family to him. She'd helped him through the hardest time of his life, when he lost his wife and was left with a newborn daughter. Back then, he could barely afford to pay her, but she stayed, simply because she was kind. Of course, there had been moments when he suspected Anna might have deeper feelings for him, but he always pushed those thoughts away. She was young, beautiful, full of life, and he was, well, a middle-aged man with a child. Sure, he had money now, but Anna wasn't one of those women who cared about that. Michael sank into a chair. I don't even know what to say anymore. There's no improvement. I thought moving to the city would help. Better doctors, better hospitals. But things only seem to be getting worse. Mr. Carter, Anna said softly, don't lose hope. Emily's strong. She'll pull through, you'll see. Maybe it's just something temporary. He looked at her, tired eyes filled with doubt. Anna, how long can something temporary last? She's fading right in front of me. Maybe you should transfer her to another hospital, Anna suggested. Or call her previous doctor, the one who treated her before. He knows her history better. Michael suddenly straightened up. Anna, you're a genius. I'll call him right now and send a car to bring him here. Her face brightened. That's the right call. He'll know what to do. Please, Mr. Carter, keep me updated. I will. And thank you, Anna, for being here. Oh, come on, she smiled faintly. I care about Emily like she's my own. For a brief second, something unspoken passed between them. A spark of connection or maybe understanding. Anna quickly looked away. Michael nodded and walked out. He got into his car and called the doctor in their old town. They talked for a long time. The doctor asked questions, scolded him gently for not reaching out sooner, and finally said, I'll be there in about 4 hours. Wait for me at the hospital. I'll need access to her test results and paperwork. Of course. I'll be there, Michael said quietly. He parked near the clinic and sat in silence. He needed a few minutes to pull himself together before walking in to see his daughter. Emily was still so young, but wise beyond her years. Sometimes she'd look at him with those serious, knowing eyes and ask, Dad, am I ever going to get better? Why don't other kids get sick? And every time Michael, the strong, capable man, had no answer. There'd only been one other moment in his life when he'd felt that helpless. The day the doctor told him his wife hadn't made it through childbirth, but their tiny baby had. Back then, he didn't know how to go on, not how to live on, but simply how to live. But he did. Somehow he made it. That's when Anna appeared, brought to him, ironically, by his late wife, Lisa. They'd met long ago, maybe through work. He couldn't quite remember, but he'd always thought it was fate that Anna ended up staying. Anna had once been through a rough patch herself. Her husband had left her, and back then it was Lisa, Michael's late wife, who helped her get back on her feet. Lisa brought her to work for Michael, and from that day on, he never regretted having her by his side. Anna was loyal, steady, always there when things got hard. She'd visit Emily in the hospital, sit with her, and Michael could always rely on her. Lisa, on the other hand, had died from an allergic reaction, something that never should have happened. For some reason, her medical file hadn't mentioned her allergy to a specific medication. Michael nearly tore the clinic apart that day. The doctors promised to investigate, but he knew too well. In medicine, it's almost impossible to hold anyone accountable. He stepped out of the car and took a deep breath. All right, he thought, time to pull it together. Emily lay there quietly, her small eyes watching him without a word. She was too weak, to talk now. Michael sat beside her, speaking softly, telling her stories, how they go to the beach or the mountains or anywhere she wanted once she got better. A tear slid down her cheek. She turned her face away. That moment hit him hard. She didn't believe him anymore. She didn't say it out loud, but he could feel it. His little girl, pretending to hope just so he wouldn't hurt. Michael rushed out into the hallway before she could see his tears. He leaned against the cold wall and finally broke down. The corridor was dim and empty, the only place he could let it all out. "Are you okay, sir?" He flinched and turned. A boy, maybe 10 years old, stood nearby, holding out a small plastic bottle. "Here, you should drink. It's not from the store. It's spring water. My mom, and I always get it from a mountain spring nearby. People say it's healing." Michael smiled faintly and took a sip. The water was cold, fresh, alive. "And what are you doing here, buddy? What's your name?" "I'm Andrew," the boy said. "I help my mom. She cleans here at night and works at a grocery store during the day. I come with her, so she doesn't have to carry the heavy stuff alone." Michael nodded, impressed. "Good kid. I haven't seen you before." Andrew grinned. "Oh, you just didn't notice me. You always look worried. But sometimes I visit Emily. We talk a bit, and when she's tired, I tell her stories instead." "You know Emily?" "Of course. Everybody knows her here. She's really sweet. She always says you'll figure something out, that you're the smartest dad in the world." Michael lowered his head. "She doesn't believe that anymore." Andrew frowned. "She does. She's just tired." Michael looked at the boy, a faint hope returning. "Would you like to sit with her for a bit? She might like that." "Sure, but not for long. My mom's waiting. She has to give my grandma her shots tonight." They walked into the room together. Emily's eyelids fluttered, and when she saw Andrew, she managed a tiny smile. "Hey," the boy whispered. "I can't stay long today, but I'll sit with you for 5 minutes, okay?" Emily blinked in agreement. She glanced at her father, then looked away again. Michael sighed quietly and stepped aside, watching as Andrew talked softly to his daughter. He turned toward the window. The doctor from their old town was on his way. Should have been there any minute now. Strange, Michael thought. He agreed to come so quickly, almost like he'd been waiting for the call. There would be time for questions later. "Hey, mister," Andrew suddenly said, pointing toward the corner of the hospital room. "Do you know why there's a camera in this room only?" Michael frowned and turned. "What camera?" "There," the boy said, pointing. Michael squinted and noticed a small black lens hidden near the ceiling. "Huh, I didn't even know that was there," he murmured. "There aren't any in other rooms?" "Nope, just this one." "Strange," Michael muttered under his breath. A quiet knock interrupted them. "Excuse me," a nurse said. "Mr. Carter, the doctor asked to see you. Someone just arrived." Then she glanced at Andrew. Her eyes widened. "Andrew, what are you doing here again?" "I told you to stop sneaking into patient rooms." Michael raised a hand. "It's okay, really. He was keeping my daughter company. It helps her feel less alone." The nurse looked flustered, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, sir. He just—" "It's fine," Michael said gently, then headed down the hallway. He didn't have time to really look at her, but for a brief second he noticed her deep blue eyes, tired, sad, and distant. Inside the doctor's office, 2 men were waiting. Dr. Lewis, who'd been treating Emily, and another man, Dr. Mitchell, the family's old physician from their previous town. Dr. Lewis looked uneasy. "I consulted several colleagues," he said. "Everyone agrees my treatment plan is correct. I don't understand why you're questioning it." Dr. Mitchell nodded politely, then turned to Michael. "Let's stay calm and focus on the facts," he said evenly. "Honestly, I was planning to come here even before you called. Something's been bothering me for a while." Michael and Dr. Lewis exchanged puzzled glances. Dr. Mitchell continued, "When you travel with Emily, did she ever have seizures or episodes while away?" "No," Michael said. "Never on trips. But they always came back after we returned home." "Exactly." Dr. Mitchell leaned forward. "And how long before a trip would the symptoms usually appear?" "Hard to say, seemed constant. But once, right before a spontaneous trip, the one when you just grabbed your bags and drove straight to the airport, she didn't have any symptoms, right?" Michael blinked. "Yeah, that's right. How did you—" Dr. Mitchell leaned back. "I didn't know. I guess." He turned to Dr. Lewis. "Can we check who's been visiting Emily lately?" Dr. Lewis frowned. "I don't think we logged that." But then Michael suddenly remembered. "There's a camera," he said, "in her room. The boy told me." The doctor's eyes widened. "You're right. I completely forgot about that. It was installed years ago for monitoring critical patients." He hurried to his computer, typed in a few commands, and brought up the security feed. "All right," Dr. Mitchell said, rubbing his hands. "When was the last episode?" Dr. Lewis shuffled through the paperwork. 2 days ago." "Good. Let's rewind from there." They watched the footage together. Nurses, visitors, blurred figures coming and going, until Dr. Lewis suddenly froze the screen. "Wait! Who's that?" he said. He zoomed in. Michael's eyes widened. I don't understand. She never told me she'd been here." Dr. Mitchell gave a knowing half-smile. "Oh, you'll be more surprised in a moment. Rewind to the previous attack." They watched again. 2 hours before each episode. The same thing. Anna was there. She'd sit by Emily's bedside, stroke her hair, whisper something, and give her a drink from a small cup. Michael wiped sweat from his forehead. "Wait, are you saying?" Dr. Mitchell placed a file in front of him. "That's exactly what I'm saying. I ran a full toxicology test on Emily's blood. There's a rare compound, a slow-acting toxin that no one would ever think to look for in a child, because, frankly, it shouldn't exist in a child's body." Michael's hands trembled. "But she got better every time we traveled," Dr. Mitchell continued. "Because Anna wasn't with you, and—" he hesitated. "I also have reason to believe your wife's fatal allergic reaction was triggered by the same substance." Michael shook his head in disbelief. No, that's impossible. Anna's the one who told me to call you." "Exactly," Dr. Mitchell replied quietly. "Because she's confident no one would ever find proof. The odds of me being wrong are 1 in 1,000. Michael's voice cracked. "But why? What reason could she have?" "Do you really know her, Michael? I mean, before she started working for you?" Michael went silent. He realized he didn't. He'd never asked, never wondered. Lisa had brought her into their lives, and he'd never looked deeper. "All right, let's do this," Michael whispered, clenching his fists. But before he could move, Dr. Mitchell stepped in front of him. "Michael," he said firmly, "we should call the police." Moments later, the hallway was filled with noise, shouting footsteps, the heavy echo of tension. 2 officers held Anna by the arms as she screamed through tears, her voice breaking. "Why her? Why always her? She got everything. My boyfriend left me for her, and she turned him down. He drank himself to death after that, and I was the one who stayed by her side. She had it all, the husband, the money, the perfect little girl, the house. We were supposed to share everything. That was the deal. But she said, "Go make your own life, Anna." Her voice twisted into a bitter laugh. "Well, I did. I made my own life out of hers." Michael's face went pale. He tried to move toward her, but Dr. Mitchell blocked his way. "Think about Emily," the doctor said quietly. Michael froze. The fight drained from him. He turned and walked out, his steps heavy, silent. That night, he fell asleep in a chair beside his daughter's hospital bed, his forehead resting against her small hand. When a nurse came in hours later, she spoke softly. "Sir, you should move to the couch. You'll wake her." She finally fell asleep on her own without any medication. Michael lifted his head. The nurse smiled, calm, kind, with deep blue eyes he recognized. It was Sophie, the cleaning woman. "All right," he said quietly, "but I'm not sleeping." "Then just stay," she replied with a warm smile. Sophie had always been there, quietly in the background. When Emily was a baby learning to sit and cried in frustration, it was Sophie who comforted her. When Emily tried to walk and fell, it was Sophie who comforted him. 3 months later, Emily was discharged. The doctors warned him. Her recovery will take time, long, difficult. She needs rest, nature, the sea. Michael nodded. He knew exactly what to do. He looked at Sophie. "Come with us. You and Andrew. You both deserve a break." She hesitated. "I can't. My husband left us. We live with my mother-in-law. If I don't keep working, cleaning, cooking, we'll have nowhere to go." Michael chuckled softly. "If that's your biggest problem, pack your bags. Something tells me you won't need to go back there again." They left the seaside together. Michael, Emily, Sophie, and Andrew. What was supposed to be a few weeks turned into the whole summer. And when they returned, they went straight to the courthouse.